Welcome to Coffee Talk, where we watch creepy and conspiracy videos while making silly ad-lib stories, because why not? I've got my coffee. Let's watch some stuff. Don't forget to stick around to the very end to catch my cutting room floor.
Deep in the frozen tundra of Antarctica, one of the most mind-blowing and history-shifting megalithic sites may have been found. What appear to be 3 pyramids sticking out of the ice, it is clear this is no natural formation. Have you ever seen a natural mountain with perfect angles leading to a tetrahedral point in a square base? One of the most astonishing facts is these structures make the Egyptian pyramids look like they are just tiny monuments, which is no simple task to say the least. The base of these pyramids are almost 10 times larger than the Egyptian pyramid, which has a base of 230 meters. The Antarctic pyramids appear to be 2 kilometers in length at the base, which would make this pyramid a truly massive structure that is covered in ice, potentially over 4,000 feet high. If you don't believe me, go look on Google Earth and see for yourself.
I've gathered a lot of information. No, I've come across quite a bit of information lately about pyramids, how people think they were all built by the same civilization. Since there are so many all over the place, I'd like to know what you think. Do you think they were all built by the same civilization? The title of today's ad lib is War, and once again, it is on madtakes.com. There's a link in the description. We had 2 nouns. We got pyramid and monument. I just wanted to take a second to tell you how much I appreciate you stopping by for today's coffee talk. If you're having a good time, maybe you consider hitting that subscribe button and come back tomorrow because I'm making a new video every day.
This video circulating online believed that what Chinese fishermen found in its seashore is a mermaid. In our modern world today, are mermaids really real? If we look in our past, the earliest mermaid legends appeared in Syria, around 1000 BC, when the goddess Atargatis dove into a lake to take the form of a fish. Unfortunately, until today, there's no evidence of aquatic humanoids has ever found.
That looked like a baby orca or a dolphin or something that had washed up and they were just waiting for the tide to come in and it had a blanket on it to keep it from getting dry. That's just my opinion, although I do still want mermaids to be real. We got a noun, which is mermaid, and an occupation, which is fisherman.
Was the Great Wall of China built to keep the Chinese out? This is the mystery, because the fortified part of the wall faces China. Now this doesn't make any sense. Who built the wall? See, many people argue that it was the Tartarians because there's 3 maps, one in 1603, 1623, and 1754, and these maps of Asia depict the historical area of Tartaria. But people argue saying that this does not prove the existence. This is still a conspiracy theory. So here's some facts. Tartar was a term used by the Europeans to describe several different groups of people. During the invasions in the 13th and 14th century, these people had destructive conquests and violent nature. So the term Tartars originated from Tartarus, the Latin word for Hades or hell. They were described as the Antichrist and they wanted to punish the Christian world. So is this a groundbreaking revelation or a conspiracy theory that needs debunking? Now here's the question, could the Tartarian of Empire have been the ones that built the wall, and did they have connection with fallen angels?
Now that is interesting. The fortified side of the wall faces China, as if to keep the Chinese out of that other side. I never thought of that. I don't know how Tartarians would have anything to do with fallen angels. I mean, Tartaria was supposedly more recent, whereas fallen angels is the Anunnaki and Nephilim time, which is a lot longer ago, right? Yeah, I'm getting everything confused. So we've got a verb, which is build, and a place. Tartaria.
In 2018, this footage of the moon was captured and shared on social media. As the camera zooms in, a large circular object seems to be orbiting the moon, moving slowly and then rotating and traveling behind it.
Some people watching this video theorize that the object near the moon is the planet of Nibiru. which is part of an end-of-the-world prophecy that said Earth and Nibiru would collide in a cataclysmic event, effectively ending the world.
It looks really tiny when we're looking through this viewfinder, but if we were to put this comparatively of how big it would be to the moon, this is huge.
The moon has a circumference of over 6,800 miles, meaning this object would be around 100 miles across.
Speaking of the Anunnaki, there's their planet Nibiru making an appearance. I mean, the footage wasn't very convincing. We got two words there, a verb ending in ed, captured, and a noun, prophecy.
Have you heard that? A cruise ship mysteriously disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. What? So listen, just 2 days ago, a crew made a chilling discovery in the Atlantic Ocean. Paul Rohan was part of a 25-person crew aboard a transatlantic ship 900 miles from Miami. As they sailed, they were unaware they were approaching a well-known location where many ships have mysteriously disappeared, you know. And their transatlantic ship was being tested before being sold to a company. It had to sail for at least 10 days non-stop to see if the ship was reliable. But just after the second day, a catastrophe occurred. Paul was in a room with a porthole, you know, overlooking the seafloor. And while he wanted to rest on the bed, his gaze was immediately drawn to a mysterious shadow through the porthole. Looking, he saw something horrible. Terrified, he immediately ran to warn his captain, but it was already too late. Their ship had just arrived in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, and so they thought they were safe because the sea was calm. Paul even recorded a video on Snapchat to prove there was no danger. So this is where it gets wild. A giant hand emerged from the water, grabbing the ship and making it disappear into the sea depths. Fortunately, yesterday a friend of Paul posted the video. To see it, follow us, click here, then on more, and finally on Snapchat.
How does one suddenly come to the realization that they are in the center of a gigantic amount of space? That's like getting halfway through a sandwich and realizing you're eating bread. It just doesn't make sense. Come on, put a little more effort into that story. Our word from that one was a verb ending in ing, and it was approaching.
Then there are the most evil species we know in the universe, who are called the Draconian reptilians, from the star system Draco. They appeared on Earth over 1 million years ago, before the Syrians, but after the Lyrans. They are scaly lizard-faced aliens with muscular humanoid bodies who are at heights around 12-14 feet. If we had to pick out one particular race in the cosmos and call them the bad guys, or even a biblical Satan, it would definitely be this species. They feed off low frequencies, fear, blood and death. Being one of the most ancient of species in the universe, they believe they have dominion over all beings on every planet. They are also natural-born shapeshifters and can shapeshift into anyone. Their lifespans stretch to 25,000, 50,000 years. Heavily built, these reptilians are said to be a violent race whose culture is based heavily on war. The Draconians don't particularly have patience for humankind and see humans as a source of energy and nourishment when humans become fearful, murderous, and destroy each other. They are also blamed for a large percentage of children abductions because their bodies aren't as polluted by toxins as an adult, and the sense of terror in a child who hasn't been desensitized causes a massive rush of adrenaline, which the Draconians apparently get a kick or rush from. 400,000 years ago, they were driven off planet or underground by the Anunnaki Syrians and Lyrans, where they are said to still reside today in a network of complex underground tunnels, channeling humans from lower astral demonic frequencies. Next.
I realized the contradiction in there, how the subtitle on top said falsely called the Anunnaki, and then it said that the reptilians were chased away by the Anunnaki. But that was really interesting how it was well put together, and the description of the reptilians, I really enjoyed that. I hope you did too. We got a plural noun out of that, which is species, which is also singular, but in this case it was used as a plural.
Here's one thing the government definitely doesn't want you to know.
Joe Biden is hiding from you that dinosaurs still exist. Yes, you heard that right. In Peru, there is a secret CIA base hidden in the middle of the forest called Unit 6. This base has been the subject of numerous conspiracy theories for decades. with some claiming it houses extraterrestrials. In 2017, a man from Brazil named Diego Lopez decided to uncover the mystery behind this place no matter the cost. On October 14th, after conducting meticulous research, he finally decided to venture into this secret base. He drove to the forest near the site and put on a fake CIA vest and badge. Thanks to that, he managed to get inside, and what he discovered will leave you in awe. Diego didn't find extraterrestrials, but hundreds of dinosaurs, and that's not even the craziest part. Some of these dinosaurs measured over 30 feet tall, capable of devouring an entire car in one bite. He managed to capture a short video and then decided to leave and return home to Peru. He posted the video online, but the Secret Services quickly removed it. A few days later, Diego went missing and he was never found again.
Don't forget to like and follow and stay weird.
I just thought that was so funny that we had to watch it together. While I don't doubt that the government hides all kinds of stuff from us, I really, really find it hard to believe that dinosaurs is one of those stuff.
Had in fact been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and extraterrestrials from other star systems. I have reports of several species that are here, have bases here. There's one species that looks something like a praying mantis. And then the short grays are the ones that you see in the cartoons. The tall grays look much different. They look more like humans. And the Nordic blondes, for example, are so similar to humans that they can walk down the street and not be detected. They are way ahead of us in medicine, agriculture, and still, I guess, presumably in technology. They know something we don't know, and that is every atomic bomb that is put off on Earth has an effect on other parts of the cosmos. They were concerned about it.
That's cool. I like seeing descriptions of the aliens we believe are here. That reminds me of a video we watched a few days ago where the alien said how they were here. They had hundreds of ships that surrounded the Earth to protect the universe from our nuclear bombing. We got a noun, and it was star.
Around 500 to 600 BC, Solon, the Greek lawmaker, visited Egypt. He met with an Egyptian high priest who welcomed him. The priest told Solon about a superior civilization who had been destroyed by water and fire. He said that the gods had purged the earth and that this superior and advanced civilization had been known by the name Atlantis. The priest continued to ridicule Solon's distinct lack of knowledge and told him how unsophisticated the Greeks were to think that this is the first time civilization had come this far. He said the Greeks are a young civilization in comparison to the Atlanteans. When Solon questioned the priest more, he told him that civilization has existed many times. The earth has been purged many times over. All of these times have been recorded, and we hold records of them here in our temples. He said that the Greeks and their people have only experienced plagues and floods, but no knowledge of all that happened in old times in this land or their own. The priest continued to tell Solon of the times before the Greeks. He said, "Solon, concerning the people of your country, the history you hold is little better than children's tales." A bemused Solon continued to listen to the priest. He said, "For, in the first place, you remember but one flood, though many had occurred previously. There was a time, Solon, before the greatest destruction by water, when what is now called the city of Athens was the bravest in war and extremely well organized in all other respects as well. It is said that it possessed the most splendid works of art and the noblest civic organization of any people under heaven of which we have heard anything about." The priest continued to explain the character of the city and the people that preceded Athens 9,000 years earlier. Regarding the citizens who lived 9,000 years ago then, I will tell you about them. For in front of the mouth which you Greeks call, as you say, the Pillars of Heracles, there was an island which was larger than Libya and Asia together. This island was called Atlantis. The priest continued to tell Solon all about their great achievements and advances in technology before a great flood destroyed Atlantis. Solon reported back his findings, to which it was passed down through generations until Plato documented the visit. Perhaps in that case, we have known where Atlantis is all along. We have just not been looking there.
It's not impossible for there to have been civilizations prior to our own. And I like that. I like that it's a possibility being discussed, not just totally put out. And that makes it fun. Oh, we got our last word, which was bemused, an emotion.
There is this one theory called the Tartarian mud flood. It's a legend of this ancient, lost civilization with access to technology thousands of years ahead of its time. And get this, one day, this empire just disappears. And it seems like they have been buried under this massive, muddy flood. You gotta understand that before the flood, these guys had 1,600 years to conquer the world. There were thriving civilizations everywhere. And with the knowledge of the angels, these guys must have possessed ridiculous technology. So I recently found out about this 2,000-year-old book. It's called the Book of Jubilees. This book actually explains what Noah's life was like after the flood. And this just blows my mind. Because these guys, being the last men on earth, would go up to entire cities to just claim for themselves. They would literally go up to these ruins of these once great palaces to crown themselves king. They would ultimately build a whole new empire out of what was already there.
Those last two kind of just ran into each other as far as civilizations before our own. I like how they depict a civilization living below a civilization as though it was covered in mud and it was just wiped away like it never even happened, and then we just built on top of it like nothing. I think that's a really cool depiction. All right, our story today is war. It was during the Battle of Pyramid when I was running through a monument when a mermaid went off right next to my platoon. Our fishermen yelled for us to build to the nearest Tartaria we could find. When we got to the Tartaria, we captured to start a fire. As we were starting the fire, the enemy saw the prophecy from the fire and started approaching species at us. We all quickly ducked behind the star of the Tartaria and returned fire. We quickly eliminated the enemy and were bemused that we had won the battle. That was a terrible story, and that was entirely my fault, for which I apologize. Thank you so much for bearing through that with me. I appreciate you stopping by today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Stick around for my cutting room floor, and I hope you have a wonderful day. 3, 2, 1. I've got my coffee. I've got my coffee. I've got my coffee. It's not actually coffee, though. It's tea, because work went a little long, so I'm a big fat liar. It's still good. Because why not? So why not? Because why not? There's an impressive, an porpoise or something. No, not a porpoise, because the way the tail fin was. That's like walking up the stairs in your house and then suddenly realizing you don't live in a 2-story house. That's like taking a shower and realizing halfway through that you're allergic to water. I'm going to go back and watch it again because I forgot. That's like vacuuming the house and when you get halfway done, realizing your vacuum isn't even plugged in. That's like driving from California to Florida and finally realizing in Texas that you don't know whose car you're in. That's like going to Starbucks and buying a Frappuccino, and when they call your name, you realize you don't even like coffee. I'm not going to say that. We're going to cut that part out. Civilization. When the civilization. There aren't really. I've seen a lot of evidence. Well, not evidence. I've seen a lot. Yeah, I guess it is evidence. I've seen a lot of evidence lately. I'm getting all mixed up. There's too many conspiracy theories running through my brain right now.